Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to do a little project. Honestly, I am about done with summer and the heat and humidity, so my annuals are too. We are going to take out the annual plantings that I have in my rectangular hummingbird planter from Unique Stone, and we are going to plant it completely with perennials. Yep. That's right. I'm going to use lots of eucharis and grasses and all sorts of fun things to transition me into the fall and winter. And all of these are going to be evergreens. So even in the winter, I will still have a planting that I can see in this container. I also want to take you on a little bit of a tour of this forest pansy bed because I haven't given you an update lately. The sun is coming in and out of the clouds, so we're going to do a little tour first because it'll be a lot easier to do that if it is cloudy, and then we are going to plant it up. This is going to be a really fun planting. I did the nursery tour, I don't know, whatever day that was, and I was talking about, oh, you should pair these two together and pair this and pair that, and then I was like, I think I'm going to take my own advice and do that in one of my containers. So that is what we're going to do today. But first, let's get to a little garden tour. I call this bed that is in front of us the forest pansy bed because I have this massive, gorgeous forest pansy redbud. It just makes sense. This is the forest pansy bed. And so this is, if you've been with me before, you know that really underneath the tree where you can see is really dark. That is my nice deep shade. And then as we work ourselves out, we get lots of good morning sun on this side. And then as the sun goes down or goes, progresses through the day, then this ends up in the shade. And on the other side, we'll have lots of sun. I did this planting in this Unique Stone urn. I didn't show you on camera, but this is one of those Doppio Bordeaux planters. Nice big fat urn, but it's short and wide. And I put in 2 eucharis and then 3 grasses. Again, it's getting that fall vibes for me. Very happy. I probably planted this 2 to 3 weeks ago, and this euchera is just doing great. This is Southern Comfort. Gorgeous new leaves, have that really pretty reddish hue to them, and then I'll have to remember what the grass is and put that up for you, but it's a short grass and it will turn a beautiful kind of that orangey color. So real fun. And then we have the update on the pitcher plants. Here we have, look at that, such a very happy plant right here. Now my crocosmia right off to the side right here, yeah, not so happy. It's okay, it's just going dormant. We're going to cut it back, it'll be fine. But bug bat is doing great. Look at that. Very, very happy plant for sure. So it is doing nicely. And everything else in here is doing just as equally as nice, especially back here in the back. I've got lots of beautiful ferns, and we've got autumn ferns in here. Autumn ferns, all sorts of different, I like doing different textures of ferns. We've got brunneras and Lenten roses, lots and lots of hostas. This is Sum and Substance that will get nice and big and has a beautiful chartreuse color to it. And then as we work our way back here in the back, I've got the Florida Sunshines, great evergreen shrub, loves the shade, bright color, doing well. And then look at all of these great autumn ferns back here. Really nice. They will be evergreens for me, so even in the winter I will have structure, so they kind of work their way around and doing nicely. Now, if you have the Heaven Scent from Proven Winners, then you may notice that it is not looking so good right now. I have 3 of them right here, and that's okay. They're simply going dormant. They're not dead, it's just that they're very cool weather plants and they're just going dormant. So these are very much like bleeding hearts. When it gets really hot, they go dormant. It's okay, you can just cut them back, leave them alone, and they will come back in early spring. So everything in here is doing nicely. This area, the kind of a bare spot back in there, I think there's something going on with the irrigation. I don't think it's quite getting all of those plants. So we'll investigate that later. And then let's move around to the front side. Now coming around to the front, we have little Munchkin here. Munchkin is that one of the shortest, smallest oak leaf hydrangeas. She is doing well, and then we have behind her some surefire begonias, and then my favorite shade annual, the Endless Illumination Broalia. Doing great, as are the pitcher plants that are in the ground. So here we have the bug bat that's in the ground, and you can see it too is doing really well. Sweet little gecko from Unique Stone. And then look at the nice growth back here on this one. Nice upright new growth on it, very happy. So I think they're going to do just fine here in the ground. I have not had to water them separately. Now the irrigation does run through here, so they're getting water that way. But with the pitcher plants, they certainly do like it nice and consistently damp. So far so good. We're just going to let them grow and do their thing. Now the container in question that we're going to address today, you can't even see the container. It is underneath this coleus and these calibrachoas. This is what we're going to completely rip out, and we're going to replant with some beautiful perennials. But moving on, I just wanted to kind of give you an overview. You can see we've got that beautiful silver brunnera back there, and then the caladiums, the Proven Winners Dark Side of the Moon, Astilbe, nice dark color. I love mixing the perennials and the annuals together, shrubs in there, just doing really nicely overall. I've had people ask about what this perennial is right here, the nice big huge leaves that are nice and dark and shiny. This is a farfugium, or a giant leopard plant. It is a fantastic perennial, especially here in the South. You'll see them a lot along where the beaches, you know, like in the Kiowa Island, Charleston, those kinds of things. It is a perennial, obviously. I just said that. But it is an evergreen. That's what I meant to say. It is an evergreen. Nice, big, huge, waxy leaves on it. It does bloom these really nice yellow flowers on it. I actually have two of these planted. There is one in the front and one in the back. Yeah, back and forth. And when I planted them, the front one, I thought I was going to lose it because it got really limp. I thought it was getting too much sun, but man, it bounced back with tons of new growth and is doing great. So that is a giant leopard plant, wonderful perennial, especially here in the South. And then I wanted to show you, can you see that Pegasus begonia? Now Pegasus is a annual, so it's going to be, you know, once the frost comes, it's gone. But look at the color and just the huge leaves on it. Brings such nice structure to the space. It would be really pretty if I had another one right there, but that's all right. And then my Edgeworthia is just, she is loving this spot and doing great. Massive growth since we put her in this spring. I just love this plant. I cannot wait to watch it grow and develop. And then to give you an update on the fall planter that I did using hot weather annuals and one Gaillardia that is a perennial. Doing well. I need to come in there and deadhead the Gaillardia, get some more growth going on that. But everybody's holding their own, doing well. And then this is my Sugar Shack button bush. Loves it wet, so that's why I put it right here. It is a native plant, so anytime you can add native plants to your garden, that is always a wonderful thing. But Sugar Shack is so versatile, but it loves it wet. That is why I put it here, because we have some irrigation, and then when it rains, the water really comes right here. And then one of my all-time favorite perennials, we're actually going to be using this today in the container, is Ascot Rainbow Euphorbia. And I have got, you'll see I've got 3 of them. I've got 1, 2, and then 3 right here. I love this plant. It doesn't really bloom. It's just for foliage. But look at that. It is very, very happy right here. And it has very soft foliage to it. Nice and kind of just real soft and buttery. It's fantastic. And then here is my Tidbit, Firelight Tidbit. I might end up having to move her just because little Quickfire right here is taking over. She loves this spot, so I may end up having to move the Tidbit at some point. It's all right. And then my Yin and Yang Viburnum. They love this spot. Lots of new foliage on them. Real pretty kind of red stems, bright green new foliage. So we've got one that kind of takes up this little whole area right here. nestled in with the little quick fire, and then here we have the other one. So they're all just kind of growing together right now, which is fine. I can slightly prune the viburnums if I want to. Of course, little quick fire will get a good trim come late winter. So we'll just see how this grows and develops right in here. And then to give you an update, somebody was asking about the mixed container I did with the mangaves. So here you go. There's 4 mangaves in here along with a juga, and everybody is doing really well. This is not on irrigation, so if it gets water, it is from rain. When I remember to water it, I water it. So there you go. I mean, they are just growing just by leaps and bounds and doing really, really nice. I probably need to move it so it's not so close to this viburnum, but it's gonna be right here and do just fine. So there we go on the update, the garden tour before the sun gets too crazy on us and makes filming a little bit difficult. When we walk back out, I want to show you my guara and my salvia because, oh, goodness gracious, it is gorgeous. So here is that gorgeous guara and the Rockin' Playin' the Blues salvia. They are just positively spectacular right now. Where you see this container right here, that is where the fountain is going to go. So we're going to put the hospitality fountain there. At some point we have to kind of level it out, run electricity to it, but that container is kind of the placeholder for the fountain. But this guara is a perennial for us. Rockin' Playin' the Blues will be a perennial as well. But just look at all of those beautiful blooms. The pollinators are just going nuts all over this plant, and the sun's just now coming up. So once the sun really gets going, then they will just be out in force here for sure. And then behind them, I think you can be able to see that the David Austins are doing well. So we have the Poet's Wife, then we have Susan Williams Ellis, which is the white, and then down here we have Rhubarb Doll. So everybody is doing great, along with the bird bath that I turned into a hen and chicks planter. So I was in there the other day just kind of pulling on them. Everybody is nice and rooted and doing quite nicely. I will for the winter go ahead and probably pull it in so that it won't get tons of rain. So that's the thing about with these guys, is that they need to stay a little bit on the drier side, and our winters tend to be really wet. And then I know a lot of y'all did not like the fact that you could see through to the garden shed, because remember this used to be a chicken coop. I planted 2 of the coconut appeals, and there you go. Clearly is a fantastic ground cover. I've had to keep pulling it out. I have those 2 camellias down there, so I've had to keep pulling it away from the camellias. But yeah, it has great coverage and you can't even see anything. So that is the thing about these black-eyed Susan vines, is that they are super vigorous and they will climb anything. I tell people, if you stand still long enough, they will climb you. All right, now without further ado, I'm just gonna go over there first and I'm gonna rip out all of the plants and the soil from that Unique Stone hummingbird planter. And then we're gonna move on from there. Okay, so all I did was my normal method of when I plant containers. I put compost, a really high quality compost, in the bottom third of the container, and then my potting soil will go up with the rest. We are going to fill this up with gorgeous perennials that are mostly, they're considered shade. So remember, when you're looking at shade, that means, especially if it's like shade, is 4 hours or less of direct sun. Shade to part shade would be in that 4 to 5, maybe 6 hours of sun, but definitely needs to be in the morning and not in the hot afternoon. This is about, I don't know, 9 o'clock in the morning right now, and these will get that morning sun, and then they'll get a break from the afternoon, and they'll be in the shade. So what we're going to do is, I've got this massive, gorgeous collection of these perennials. This is I've got 3 different eucheras, a pulmonaria, a grass, and then the Ascot rainbow. First up, we have the Dolce Silver Gumdrop. Really nice, deep silvery color with a little bit of green in there. The new foliage has got some purple veining on it. Really nice. So all the eucheras are going to be cold hardy to zones 4 to 9. For us in the south, they do a lot better in containers than in the ground. I think it's because it can regulate the water a little bit better. They don't like to have those really wet feet, so a container is great for that. So we're going to do that. Then to complement that color, we have got the Dolce Wildberry, which is a very beautiful purple, gorgeous color on it. Still has some of that silver, so the silver gumdrop and the Wildberry really play off well with one another. The Wildberry is going to get taller, so I'm going to put it more kind of in the center, and the silver gumdrop is going to go off to the side. It will get 10 to 14 inches tall, whereas the silver gumdrop is only 6 to 8. So we're going to have some different height in here. We're not going to have a ton of height, just a little bit, because I don't want, while I love the coleus and the calibrachoas in here, it was getting a little too big, and that's just the time of the year, right? So this will be nice. We'll be able to see over and see the other plants, and then see the beautiful, the workings of this container with all the beautiful hummingbird artwork on it. Next is going to be, oh my gosh, look at that big old pop of color. It just explodes, doesn't it? This is the new ball gown. Ball gown is one of 2 eucheras in the dressed up series from Proven Winners. So you have ball gown, really chartreuse color, and then evening gown is a black. So I've got enough dark in here, and then I've got my Wildberry. So I wanted that nice pop of color. I don't have any of the ball gown here at the house, so I was like, heck, I love that color. Let's just go for it. The dressed up series has nice, huge, massive leaves on it. So that's one of the big differences between dressed up series and maybe the other eucheras, right? Big, huge leaf texture on it and gorgeous color. It too will be around that 10 to 12 inches. So I'm gonna put it, well, I don't know where I'm gonna put it. I had it all planned out yesterday with Jerry, and I should have taken a picture, because that's what I always tell my customers to do. Once you have the arrangement, take a picture, so when you get to what I'm doing right now, you're not like, now what side did that go on? It's a whole thing. Then we are going to use the Ascot rainbow. I thought that would be really fun. This will probably end up being my tallest plant overall. And since I have Ascot rainbow in the bed, I thought it would be really fun to tie it in to this container as well. I do remember it was going in that back corner, and I'm pretty sure the silver gumdrop was here. Wildberry was here. Yep, I think that's right. Then I may have too many plants. I always get a little over ambitious. We're gonna make it work. We are gonna make these babies get in here. I'm gonna put that there. Okay, so those are the ones we've all talked about so far. And then a grass, because I do love my grasses. This is Feather Falls. I have talked about Feather Falls so many times. It is a beautiful evergreen grass that is a trailing grass. It's not gonna get super tall, but it will trail over and just be stunning. It is a carex grass. It will be hardy in zones 5 to 9, where it says 14 to 18 inches tall. It's 3 to 4 feet wide and long, trailing. Will be really beautiful. We'll see how I got to squeeze that one in there. And then we're going to use the new Pulmonaria Pinkaboo. So an exciting new plant that's coming out next year. We actually had this at the nursery, so if you're a local customer, come by and you can get some of these beautiful pulmonaria. I do have it pulled up from Walter's Gardens because I wanted to make sure that I got it correct on the differences between Spot On and Pinkaboo, because Spot On has been wildly popular, and rightly so. It is a great plant. But there are some differences between the Pinkaboo and the Spot On. So I'm just going to read to you from Walter's. So compared to Spot On, the flower buds are pink instead of salmon, and then they will transition to a true blue that are a little bit lighter than what the Spot On is. And then, so that's the difference. It's truly a pink flower, not a salmon colored flower. And then the foliage on Pinkaboo is much more dark and more narrow. So you can see they're skinny and long. The Spot On is a little bit fatter, but this is a nice deep dark green on here. And so that is what we're gonna use in here as well. Granted that we can get them all squeezed in this container. I really think we can. Now, long term, what am I gonna do with this container? I am going to enjoy it from now until probably sometime in the spring when I'm ready to put in some summer annuals. At that point, what I will do is either put plants into the bed, my eucharis, maybe I will put them into containers and then place them in the bed. I really like that look. Obviously, I do that a lot. So I'll have a container and I'll have a plant in there and just nestle it into the garden, because I do have a couple of eucharis in here that I think it's just too wet. And I'm still figuring out this flower bed because it is new, you know, within the last year, and the irrigation. So you're just trying to figure everything out as far as like how to control the water, where are my wet spots, where are my dry spots, and then moving my plants around according to that. So what I've got is the potting soil, the compost, then the potting soil. I'm gonna grab some biotone and just sprinkle the whole top. That way when I'm planting these in here, everybody gets some nice biotone and gets really well established. And then I'm just gonna get these planted, and I'm gonna figure out my design as I go, since I forgot what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, my friends, so we have got the hummingbird planter is all planted. So I ended up going with the Ascot Rainbow on the corner because it'll be my biggest, then the wild berry, then the silver gumdrop, then ball gown, feather falls, Pinkaboo. Now, all of this is going to kind of grow in together. Hopefully, that is the plan, right? That it'll all grow in together and just be overlapping each other. There is no way that I can leave these plants in here long term. These were premium gallons going in here. You will notice that on a couple of them, I had to really squeeze the root system and then push them down. That's fine. It's okay. These plants are a little tougher than what they look like. So just make it work. Of course, I put the top dress of compost, watered it in really well. And then, like I said earlier, come springtime when I am ready to put my summer annuals in here, I will take these out. If I decide to leave something in here, then great. But all of these perennials can go in gorgeous containers just like this. And then when they outgrow the container, you just move them to your landscape. So you're not wasting money. You're not being, frivolous. You're enjoying them for a time like this. And then we are going to move them on to a different location into the garden. Fun. I like this container. It's going to take me from fall all the way into winter, into spring. It's going to be a lot of lots of color and lots of texture. It's a great fun planter. As always, I hope that you have had fun today, enjoyed it, and we appreciate you, and we'll see you the next time. Bye, friends.